Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Today I'm bringing you the Warden main tank build for Summerset. Video is kinda late, I know, but I wanted to test in live server just to make sure it works in other trials as well. So this is not only Cloud Rest tested, but other trials as well. So I can easily say this one is a beast, the sustain is amazing, everything is really good. So let's see. I'm gonna make two parts of this video. One with really short, I'm just gonna show everything real quick, and then we start the detailed one like always. I'm an Imperial Warden, all points in health, 20k Magica, 20k stamina, a bit higher stamina than Magica, 45.6 health, stage 4 Vampire, Lord Mundus, Tri-Stat Foot, resists are as you look, 29.4, 30.5, gear wise, 5-piece Ebon, all sturdy, all Tri-Stat, 2-piece Lord Warden or Turvokun, same sturdy Tri-Stat. Alkosh, full Triune jewelry with shield play enchants. Alkosh shield, sturdy Tri-Stat. Sword of Alkosh infused Crusher. Lightning Staff of Alkosh infused weakening. Skill wise, on the front bar we have Pierce Armor, Heroic Slash, Deep Thoughts, Bull Netch, Budding Seeds, Northern Storm. On the back bar we have Deceptive Predator, Shimmering Shield, Inner Rage, Ice Fortress, Crushing Shock, Aggressive Horn. Shimmering Shield you can swap with Frozen Device, Crushing Shock you can swap with Blockade. So these two spots are basically flex spots, okay? That's basically it. For the other skills, Living Trellis, Healing Ticket, again Frozen Device. I don't recommend using Absorb Magic on a Warden, it makes no sense, do not do it. Let's see, not really anything. You can use Invigorating Drain, that's a nice skill, but I don't recommend it a lot. Get the Banish Wicked here. Strike's Entropy is a decent skill if you want more max health. Get the passives here. You don't have to take the first two, but take these two, definitely. Energy Orb is a good skill. I highly recommend using it. Like if your DD is needed, obviously. Speed Buff, Retreating Maneuver. Efficient Purge for, you know, Hof, Asylum, stuff like that. Get your racials, get your alchemy medicinal use. And for CP, I have two different CPs. So first one is for physical resistance. I'm just gonna show you the red one. 81 Ironclad, 64 Hardy, 37 Elite Defender, 37 Thick Skinned, 19 Quick Recovery, 12 Heavy Armor Focus. But I have a different one, which is basically the spell version of it. 12 Spell Shield, 81 Ironclad. This time 64 Elite Defender, 37 Hardy, 37 Thick Skinned, 19 Quick Recovery. Okay, it's basically the same, but just instead of focusing on physical, mitigating physical, it's spell. So, by the way, this add-on is called Champion Point something. Just look it up in SOEI.com, you'll find it. White CP, 100 Blessed, 100 Elfborn, 40 Thaumaturge, 10 Mighty. The reason is I've usually find myself doing the most DPS with my Alkosh. So here's why. For the green, 100 Shadow Ward, 43 Tenacity, 40... Oh, this is... why is it like this? Sorry about that, this is wrong. No points in here except 30 Tenacity, just to get the Synergizer. Let's see. Okay, this is much better. There we go. 100 Shadow Ward, 51 Tumbling, 30 Tenacity, 40 Warlord, 29 Sprinter. You don't need anything in here, but you want the Synergizer passive, okay? That's basically it for the CP. And for the potions, there's this Tri-Stat one, and this one right here. There's a potion you can do that gives you speed, lingering health, and major vitality, but it requires one of the new ingredients that drops in Summerset, which are really hard to get. Like, they're basically impossible to get to make a reliable source of potion stack. So I don't recommend depending on those. Yeah. Anyway, you get my point. That's all for the fast one. Now we can start in the big part of the video. So let's go to our stats. First of all, the race choice. If you are a new player that has no idea about tanking, well, you probably shouldn't watch this video. This is more of a end game stuff. This is not for everyone, so keep that in mind. But if you want to go into the end game stuff and you are still not sure about what you want to do, if you want sustain, go Argonian, but I have absolutely no issues in terms of sustain, so I'm going Imperial, and these are the stats I get with Imperial. This is thanks to Imperial, okay? 20k Magicka, bit higher stamina, 45.6 health. Okay? Recovery do not matter at all. Doesn't matter. At all. Critical, weapon crit, these do not matter, but you want some spell crits to make your heals bigger, but your spell damage, like, do not invest in it. Spell resist looks like this. This is with Lord Warden. This is the spell version as far as I know, yeah. When Lord Warden procs, you'll well over the cap for both resistances, so it's fine. I'm using the Lord Mundus because, as I said, sustain is not an issue at all with the new skill. And Tri-Stat food, Vampire stage 4. Now, gear. I'm using Ebon. I'm collecting this set right now. This one right here. There are some places to use this, but it is not a set that you want to definitely have. Like, for example, if you are holding axes in AA, this is something you want to use. It will proc on cooldown, and it's gonna be more beneficial than having, let's say, Dragon in the group. It will boost DPS more, believe me. So this is actually a strong set, but only in specific fights where you block a lot of things constantly. Otherwise, it's a trash set. Don't even bother farming it. Okay, well, mostly we're using Ebon, just max out healing taken, and max out for the group Now this is not only 1.1k max out. This is just getting boosted by a lot of stuff. This is getting boosted by your Undaunted, by your DDs Undaunted, by Warhorn, a lot of things, okay? So this is, don't look at it like extra 1k health. It is more than 1k, okay? It saves lives. Ebon is one of the best sets in the game. Use it. Lord Warden, well, obviously it's for team protection. It's really good set. Also makes you a bit tankier, like 3k resistances. Another set that is really good is Turvokun. And as you see, when we equip Turvokun, we have a lot higher max health. Our resistances drop a bit, but you don't have to be capped to tank stuff. Okay? So, now why Turvokun? It's because minor maim. You can't completely ignore the defile. There are many things like in PvE. Enemies do not heal a lot. Like the healing things, mostly they become full health if you are missing a mechanic or stuff like that. Okay, so that's basically it. You want to use it for the minor maim, not defile. So this will make your group tankier than Lord Warden does, because Lord Warden gives resistances, and 1k resist, 600 resist is like 1%, so it makes it how much? 7%? No, 7%, something like that, or 8. I don't know, whatever. But this one is 15%, and it's also when you apply minor maim to something, they hit your shield less as well. So if your DDs are using shields, they will get less damage to their shields. Okay, Lord Warden doesn't do that. Lord Warden gives resistance to their health. Okay, that's the difference. And Turvokun, in any case, if they have shield or not, will make them tankier. Okay, keep that in mind. We have Alkosh. This is basically a must set for any trials tank. You have to use it. It's just a crazy strong set. If you're a new tank that can't do veteran trials yet, go into normal mode Lorcash and get the jewelry of the set. Okay, it is still strong. Go to normal, open chests, you will get purple jewelry. Okay, it is not a hard set to get your hands on. Okay, the only thing that is hard to get is weapons, but in normal you can get all of this stuff in one day. It's really easy to do. Now the Trion stuff, I had to spend some gold to get those and wait even more for the research, but I got them at last. So full Trion, full shield play enchants. Now there's one more thing that I tested in PTS, especially for Cloudrest. What we want to do is going full infused. Look, I'm keeping a second set of Alkosh jewelry right here. I'm gonna make them infused, and I'm gonna put potion cooldown reduction on it. What's gonna happen then is my potion cooldown will be 21 seconds, and this potion right here will double stack. Okay, so when I use the potion, it gives me 1k health per second for 48 seconds. When the cooldown is over, if I use another one, I will start getting 2 of these together. Okay, so I will be getting 2k healing per second, which is really good in Cloudrest. There are some things that you need to survive on your own. You need to heal yourself by a lot. So this is the potion you want there, okay? With the potion cooldown reduction, your major vitality uptime will be little higher than 70%. So you will have a lot of healing. I mean it. You will have crazy amount of healing. And with the Warden skills, it's really hard to die there. So yeah, that's it. So you want to have another set of jewelry infused with potion cooldown reduction for the fights that are barely doing anything to your sustain, but doing something to your health. For example, Asylum. If you are main tanking in Asylum, boss hits you hard, but doesn't hit you often. That means you won't be blocking as much. So this Trion shield plate jewelry is completely useless, so you can go full infused, full potion cooldown reduction, and make your healer's job much easier. Okay? Now, on the back bar, we want a Lightning Staff of Alkosh infused weakening. Guys, this is more important. Sometimes giving up Crusher uptime is more beneficial than your team dying. If you can help mitigating the damage for your team, do it. If there's something really hard-hitting skill is coming onto the group, proc weakening, okay? You can have both at the same time, but if you have to choose between one, choose weakening. For example, the fire in Asylum, right before it hits, proc weakening, your team will take less damage. If you're off-tanking in Asylum, constantly have weakening on the poison boss on the Lotus to make the cone AoE hit less. Okay, these are important stuff. So yeah, that's basically it. So keep weakening, it is more beneficial. Do not use double crusher. Let's see. That's basically it for gear. Let's go to skills. There are some skills that you cannot swap at all. This bar, basically I do not swap except my ultimate. When I need it, I slot healing ticket and it's gonna heal me shit ton. So first skill I have is Pierce Armor, our normal taunt, applies major fracture and breach for 12 seconds, amazing. Heroic Slash applies minor maim, very reliable minor maim, not some ice bullshit. Very reliable, constant minor maim, 12 seconds. And gives us minor heroism as well. Deep Thoughts, this is our sustain tool. This skill is such a nice skill, I can't even explain. This is what I do in trial fights. I taunt, I go meditate, I press Heroic Slash, which gets me out of meditate immediately. And if you look at my Crusher, it's not going down at all. That's it. Basically, I'm immortal for 4 seconds and restoring crazy amounts of resources, and I make and I give up 1 second to apply Crusher. Like, you can do this all day. You will have insane amount of Crusher uptime, like 100%, not 99, 100. This is going 100 right now. So okay, that's all. Okay, that's basically what I do. Now, Deep Thoughts is something important to know. Is this passive right here. While you are casting or channeling a Psijic Order ability, you gain major protection, reducing your damage taken by 30%. Which is crazy, because, well, major protection. This skill requires you to not block. You cannot block while doing this. So what happens is you still have a lot of protection. you still have a lot of defense thanks to this passive right here. Okay, that's the important part. So do not be afraid of using this skill, but you have to know the fights. You have to know if there's something is gonna knock you back, if there's something is gonna stagger you, something is gonna stun you, some really hard hitting skill is coming your way. You need to get out of this and block immediately, or else you'll be thrown, boss will move, you'll get one shot, things like that. Okay, don't do that. Yeah. Let's see. Another thing is, while you have major protection, it also affects your shields. So we will come to that in a second. Sometimes this skill makes you get less damage than from projectiles if you do this instead of blocking. So I will explain in a second. Next skill we have is Bull Notch. This is our stamina sustain, and when we have it on the front bar, we have Flourish passive right here. Increase your magic and stamina recovery by 12%, which doesn't matter at all, but I like having it here. What we want to do is use the skill every 8 seconds. Okay? So what you can do is, just like I explained before, Pierce Armor, Natch, Meditate, Heroic Slash, Meditate again. Now when I use my Pierce Armor, my Natch will be off cooldown. This passive will be off cooldown. So every rotation I get 4 ultimate from Natch. Okay? Now the next skill is Budding Seeds. Now why is this on the front bar? This is probably the best healing in the game. I'm not kidding. This is such a strong healing skill. When I did Haldra hard mode with this build, I could keep people alive. Like one healer was down, and the other side of the group, I was healing them on my own with this skill. I was seeing 12, 15k crits. It's basically Breath of Life, but on a tank. It's same strength. It is AoE, it is not single target. And it gives them a synergy. Now, when we talk about the synergy, this is really important. I cast it specifically on my off tank to give him the synergy, and he gets Alkosh uptime. So we are using double Alkosh in our group, and the uptimes on Alkosh is really good. Like, I can't explain enough. Like, he just stands a bit to the side of the group, and I aim. Like the thing with Budding Seeds is whoever is closest to the middle gets the synergy. If there's no one in this thing, and if you are standing on the side, you will not get the synergy. You have to stay in middle. Okay, around here to get the synergy. So I put Budding Seeds on my off tank and give him the synergy. We get a lot of Alkosh uptime. So yeah. Now, the next skill we have is Northern Storm. Now, why do I pick this? Because a lot of stuff cannot be stunned in trials, but I can get Max Magica, which makes me spam more skills without running out and having to use Deep Thoughts. That includes spamming heals on the group with Budding Seeds, spamming the Frozen Device for chaining stuff. I have a higher Magica pool that makes it easier for me. Like, instead of using 5 skills in a row, I can use 6, for example, which helps in the end. So, and this is like somewhat cheap, like 200 ultimate, major protection for the group. So when I cast this, if you are going in a really dangerous trash fight, I will cast this, and if the healer doesn't have Nova, I will just use this, give the team major protection, and they will take a lot less damage. And the radius is 10 meters, so if you are stacked properly, if they are stacked properly on you, they will take a lot less damage. So keep that in mind. Next skill is Deceptive Predator. This is such an amazing skill. I can't describe enough. 14 seconds of major expedition. That is the only reason I'm using this. Being fast on your feet as a tank makes a huge difference. It is a huge difference. Okay? Have the skill at all times. All times. Especially in Cloud Rest, I can't explain how useful this is. Having speed on a tank is insane. You will thank me for this, okay? Use speed buff on your tank. On DK, I use the speed potion. On Warden, I have this, which is much effective. So yeah, second skill we have is Shimmering Shield. Now this skill is probably the most overpowered skill in this game. I can't, it's just almost free, because when you absorb a projectile it gives you 600 magicka back, and you get major heroism on top when you absorb something. So talking about the when I said sometimes using this is more beneficial than blocking, right? Okay, this is the reason. When you have this gives you a damage shield, okay? It doesn't show up on your health bar, but it gives you a damage shield. So this damage shield can absorb up to 70k damage. That means major protection applies to your shields as well. So what you can do, what I do in Cloud Rest, especially Cloud Rest, you know, the Fat Whale will throw you something that hits really hard. What I do is I put this up, go to my front bar and meditate. I take absolutely 0 damage. No damage at all. Because the major protection I get from the meditate makes my Shimmering Shield take less damage. Okay? That's the part behind it. That's the idea. And it works. I get literally 0 damage. My Shimmering Shield absorbs all of the damage from the heavy attack. Okay? If you need to be mobile, what you want to do is just block it. When you block it, you will take slight damage, like 4 or 5k, something like that. It's not much of a deal, but still something. Third skill we have is Range Taunt, Inner Rage. When you use this, make sure to morph it to Magicka, so if your off tank is far enough from the target, he can get a synergy for Alkosh. Just make sure you have this. Let's see. Ice Fortress. Now, you can use Expansive Frost Cloak. It is fixed. It will give the armor buff to 5 allies. And that's it basically. And you. But the thing is, I said this in every Warden guide I ever prepared. Warden is not as tanky as DK. And this is one of the ways to compensate for the tankiness. Okay? Lack of tankiness, more likely. So when you have this, you get minor protection 24 seconds, and still you can give the armor buff to your allies. The radius is 8 meters. Expansive Frost Cloak, I believe it is 20 or 28, I'm not sure. It is more support, but this one makes you tankier. Even though that 8% will get reduced to ashes, still it is something to compensate for the lack of tankiness. Okay? So there you go. Ice Fortress, that's why. If you can, if you want to, choose the other morph. It is more support. Now the last skill, we have some choices here. We can use Crushing Shack, which is a range interrupt, amazing skill. I think this is a must for tanks to have. Range interrupt is crazy. We have first boss, Hellra, Warrior, like everything in Hellra you can interrupt the flame shapers and all that stuff. You can interrupt the healers in AA. I am not quite sure if there's something interrupt. Oh yeah, in Sanctum, while tanking Ozara, the Archer will randomly select someone and do the heavy attack, do taking aim. You can interrupt it with Crashing Shock, so your DDs don't have to do it. There are a lot of things that you can interrupt and you should interrupt as a tank, so your DDs can focus on what they do. The next skill is Blockade. Now, the Blockade is very, very useful in some fights. If you're gonna get stunned, let me just explain how it works. Like, pretty much everyone knows this by now, but still I want to explain. Say this Crusher proc. Why? The reason is, when your Blockade deals damage, and as you see, I just applied weakening there. No, that's not weakening, sorry. When I put this, now that is weakening, that is Crusher. If you look at here, weakening, Crusher, see? Now what happens is, when Blockade deals damage, it will proc the enchant of the weapon you are holding. Now it only procs the damage enchants like flame damage, shock damage, stuff like that, and debuffing enchants. It does not proc Berserker enchant, for example, spell damage enchant. It doesn't proc enchants that affects you. That's more like it, yeah. It procs the enchants that affects the enemy. Okay? That's how you can use Blockade to get really high Crusher uptime. So what happens is, for example, you are tanking Assembly General, and he's gonna punch you, and he's gonna knock you back. What happens is, you put Blockade down, and you block, and while flying back, you watch the Crusher proc. Easy, okay? That's how you get a lot of Crusher uptime without, like, it's the thing about when I said at the beginning of this video is that it's a endgame tank build. This is not a beginner tank. Is because of this playstyle. If you don't know what you are doing, having a lightning staff on the back bar will kill you. Okay? So, yeah. Learn the fights first, then use lightning stuff. If you don't know the fights, you will die all over the place just because you have this stuff on your bar, okay? You can use this literally everywhere. I use this in Cloudrest, I use this in Hof, I use this in literally every single place you can imagine. Everything. It is a huge support for your DDs and your healers, for your whole group. Range interrupt, more Crusher uptime, off balance on demand. It's just really good item. So have a lightning stuff on your back bar. And our ultimate is obviously Warhorn, no need to explain. Just read it, pause the video and read it. This is the ultimate you want to use. That's basically it. I explained gear. Let's go to champion points. Use this add-on, by the way. Let's see. Let's start with the red one. 81 Ironclad. This is just... I always keep 81 Ironclad. Always. I know it's really big number, but Ironclad basically protects you from what kills you. On a tank, what you will die to is big direct hits, okay? And Ironclad prevents that. That's all you need to know. 37 Hardy, 64 Defender. This is my magic defense setup, like spell resist stuff. Thick skin 37. You don't need any thick skin, to be honest with you. but still have some there. 19 quick recovery. This is just lack of compensation for lack of healing. Sorry about my English. Now, as you know, DK tanks have a lot of healing taken, which makes them really tanky. This one is kinda helps. Yeah, just have some points in there, and the rest is empty. For green, 29 sprinter, this is something you want to have. I would spend more if I had. Definitely need it. As a tank, you will sprint a lot in the new trial, especially. In every trial, you will sprint, believe me. So, having sprinter will help a lot. 40 Warlord, well, obvious what it does. I explained before, you need absolutely nothing in here, but 30 points in tenacity for synergizer. 100 Shadow Ward, 51 Tumbling. Okay? 100 Blast, 100 Earthborn for boosting our heals, and the rest of it is going to boosting our Alkosh damage, because there's nothing else. And that's basically it. That's all. Now, did I miss anything? I explained potions, I explained food, skills, gear, champion points, stats. I think everything looks fine. If I did miss something, just write it in comments, just ask. I'll answer as soon as I can. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Take care.